our next guest, which we thought we were going to have in studio. Scott's going to be on the phone with us, which is great. Glad he's okay. Is Scott Stallings. Scott is the CEO of an event that's going to be here next week. I remember when it was first announced, PrepperCon. It's going to be held at the Southtown Expo Center, which is at 9575 South State Street in Sandy, Utah. It's open Friday and Saturday, the 24th and 25th, from 9 a.m. till 8 p.m. Nothing like this really has taken place in Utah, and I can tell it is really starting to grow. When we first had Scott on the phone, when he was here in the studio talking about it, it was kind of in its infancy stage, and I can imagine this gentleman is quite busy. So without any delay, let's go ahead and get him on the line. Scott, welcome to K-Talk and Fringe Radio, my friend.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
So I've been seeing PrepperCon on buses and TV, and compared to when you were here a few months ago when you were just putting this whole thing together, it looks like this has exploded.
Oh, yeah, it is phenomenal. We've had such an amazing response from the community. We've actually sold out on booth space, so every one of our exhibitor spaces is full. We've actually ended up opening up some overflow area to add more booths in there, and some additional things. I mean, we've got all of your staple items for emergency preparedness. I mean, we've got your first aid. We've got your first aid trauma kits, your basic kits, but we've also got surgical kits. You know, we've actually got classes to go with these to train people. Then you look at your basic staple with your food storage. Well, we've got that times about 10. And then we threw on top of that a cook-off contest solely from food storage. And the winner of that, every participant in that challenge is going to get around $400 in food storage from Wise Company. They're the sponsor for that event. And they've got some amazing food storage products, but it's all from their pantry, so you don't have to worry about bringing anything. All you have to do is bring creative mind and your skills to cook. We're going to be doing some grid down scenario cooking contest. Grand prize on that one's going to get about $2,000 in a shopping spree with Wise Company Foods.
Wow.
Really, really cool. And we've actually got a couple spots open for that still. And if you want to get in on that, you just email Nanette at PrepperCon.com. It's NANNETTE at PrepperCon. That's PrepperCon.com. And it's just going to be fun. I mean, we've tried to add as many things as possible to keep people entertained, to educate them, and then to get them the gear that they want. Whatever resonates with them, guess what? It's going to be at PrepperCon. I mean, it's crazy. It's just blown up. We've got bunkers. The actual bunker you put underground, we've got a company there that sells the bunkers. They're going to be showcasing their 50-foot bunkers, so you can get in, walk around through it, and try to imagine what it'd be like to live in a bunker underground. Mm-hmm. You know, if you're worried about nuclear fallout, I guess this is the place you'd want to go, is one of these bunkers. They're pretty awesome. So we're excited. We've got some really unique things that you haven't seen at most of the preparedness type shows, and we've got the entertainment aspect. We've got Walking Dead stars. We got Theo Crane and we got Addie Miller. They're both from season 1. Addie's probably the most famous zombie the show's ever had. She was that little girl zombie with the teddy bear.
Yes.
Season 1. And she has a cult following. It's amazing to watch. People just love her, and we're just so excited to have her there. And Theo, he got killed. He was one of the humans. He got killed, I think, episode 10 or 11. And he's just this big, burly dude. And I was kind of bummed when I heard he got taken out. I'm excited. He's so much fun. He's actually a world champion. I can't remember what martial art it is. He's a world champion amateur competitor in martial arts.
Ah, gotcha.
Really, really talented guy. A lot of fun. So we've got them. We've also got some other stars from reality shows like Doomsday Preppers, Michael Hawk from Man, Woman, Wild, and Lost Survivors. We've got David Holliday, who's actually almost local. He's from southern Utah. He did Castaway with Tom Hanks.
Oh, okay.
He was actually the survival expert for that movie, and he's done quite a few other movies, but that's the most famous one that they used him for. And he also runs his own survival school down south, which that's one of my bucket lists, is to take that class that he does. He's got week-long classes, he's got day-long classes, but I want to go immerse myself in the wild and just learn from him. So we've got just amazing, amazing people coming out. We've got a few companies off of Shark Tank that actually got funded. One of those is Luminade, and they're going to be coming and showcasing their product. It's really cool. It's these blow-up lanterns. They're battery, solar recharging lanterns. Really, really neat. They sell a ton of them. They give a ton of them away, and they always give them away to like, for example, Katrina. You know, Katrina happened, and a lot of people were without power, without light.
Right.
These guys, you know, since then they've created this company, and so they sent a whole bunch to Haiti when they had the major earthquake there. They sent a bunch to Japan when Nagasaki happened, Fukushima happened. So these guys are really proactive. They help with the Red Cross a lot. They're going to come talk about kind of their experiences, some of the key things that people should have on hand. Plus, they're going to talk about Shark Tank, which is going to be fun. So we've got a little bit of something for everybody. And I think one of the fun, I guess, unique things about PrepperCon is we've got two other events that I haven't seen anybody else do in this realm of the industry. But we've got a zombie and post-apocalyptic costume contest with some pretty big gift cards that are going to be given out for the Grand Champ. So we're really trying to encourage people to come out, have fun, dress up, do some cosplay. You know, dress up as your favorite zombie, dress up as your favorite zombie slayer, or, you know, militia-type costumes, or go completely rogue and go tactical. You know, have some fun with it and just come out and enjoy it. But then we've also got a fashion show, which is, in the preparedness industry, it's not what you think it is when you think fashion shows. We're going to have people in hazmat suits and full camo and tactical wear and, you know, extreme cold weather gear. We've got some amazing products. You could be in 40-degree below weather and be nice and toasty.
Gotcha.
We've got Fortress and Game Gear. They're both coming. They've got product lines that you could actually fall in the lake in the middle of winter. They'll drag you out of it. Keep this clothing on, and it'll wick the water away from you and get your body back to core temperature within a matter of minutes.
Wow.
It's amazing. So if you're ever worried about power going out in the middle of winter and how you're going to stay warm, grab a couple of these outfits. We're going to showcase them on stage. They're both going to be there so you can get your own. It's just going to be a lot of fun. I mean, we've got everything from personal protection and self-defense, as well as classes, to first aid and classes. I mean, we've got a suturing class. You can learn how to suture open wounds.
Well, and you know, and that's those are, see, to me, that's what I think is so, and we talked about this last time when you were here. That's what I think is so cool about what you're doing is, yeah, it's fun to see the doomsday preppers and you know, and they offer something, but just like that, I mean, what if you're out, and it doesn't need to necessarily be a catastrophic thing. What if you're out camping and you get one of those cuts that's, you know, it's gushing all over the place, and you're out alone, and you know, and driving to an emergency room maybe 2-3 hours out. If you know, what's the proper way to sew somebody up, how to sew yourself up? That's the kind of stuff that people need to know about.
Oh yeah, and this class is really cool. We've got it on Friday and Saturday. It's $135, which you'd think, wow, that's expensive, but here's the kicker. You get your own suturing set. You're taught by a medical doctor who does this for a living. Like, he's always sewing up people. So he knows all the ways to do it, the right way to do it, how to clean it, how to care for it afterwards. And so he's going to teach you all of that, and you'll have a DVD that you can walk away with, a small suturing kit that you can walk away with. I shouldn't say small. It's actually a pretty big kit. So you've got different gauges of needles and of I guess line, I don't know what you want to call it, but thread. And then you've got a workbook. So you've got all these resources that you're coming out of this class with. And I'm telling you, it's selling really fast. You get free entrance to the event if you buy that class. It's $135. There's more seats available on Saturday, ironically, than there are on Friday right now.
Wow.
And we've got to cap that class at about 25 for each class. So there's a few left for Friday. So if you're watching, if you're listening in, go to PrepperCon.com and buy those tickets on the event page. Those classes alone are worth coming to the event for. But then on top of that, we've got tactical training, we've got women's self-defense, we've got shelter building techniques, fire starting techniques. I mean, you name it, we've got a class in and around it And one of the neatest ones we just secured is actually for the ladies out there thinking, okay, what happens if the grid goes down, or what happens if I'm pregnant and there's no power, or I can't get to a hospital? How do I have my baby? Mm-hmm. Well, we have Diane Bjarnson. She's coming in. She's going to do a class Friday and Saturday. And it's all 100% about having your baby in an emergency birthing situation. What to do, how to prepare for it, how to take care of it, how to clean up after. She does this all over the state. I think she travels all over the nation. We are really fortunate to have her. It is one of those classes. It's just so important because really in an emergency, there is no 911. You're your own 911. They
Right.
can't get there fast enough.
Right, right.
So it's just amazing skills, and we are really fortunate to be part of this event. I mean, when I thought of PrepperCon almost 2 years ago, I didn't think it was going to be this huge. I thought it was going to be a fourth of what we're doing. It's blown up so many times bigger than what we anticipated, and the response is amazing. I love Utah. Like, the people have just gotten behind this. You know, we've actually got people from, like, Oklahoma, Oregon, Washington, Tennessee, Texas, Colorado, Arizona, and Florida that have requested for us to bring our show there. It's just, and it's not just one or two people. It's like we're getting handfuls of people asking when we're going to expand there. And so, kind of a spoiler alert, we're actually planning next year to do 3 shows in addition to this show here in Utah. We're going to be hitting Colorado. We're going to try to either go to Oregon or Oklahoma. Those are the two highest demand areas that we've gotten. And then we're definitely going to Houston. And then the year after that, we're going to start expanding. We're going to try to do 4 more shows. So over the next 5 years, we're trying to get up to 20 shows across the nation and try to get it to where we're doing it 2 times a year, because that's how often we need this. We need to continue to retrain. We need to get the education and work on those skills and just acquire more knowledge. And it's the funnest way to do it, I mean, is PrepperCon. I've not found any other show that's quite this exciting.
Oh, it sounds like it. It's how did you, Scott? For those that we had you in the studio, of course. Now we had Ben on the line. Ben Hansen joined us that night. How did you get into the whole prepping thing? For the listeners that didn't hear that program,
you know, it's kind of funny. I grew up with my grandparents gardened, so therefore my parents both gardened. So they grew up gardening in Idaho and were self-reliant. They canned their own foods, and they did as much as they could on their own. You know, my dad's a general contractor, so anytime something breaks, he'd fix it. And so he taught me those skills. And so there's been, you know, a lot of my life it was, that's just what you do. I didn't know it was called prepping at the time. I was too young for that term, even though that term has been around since 1940s. And so I just always thought that was how you do things. And when I was 13, I got exposed to this book called My Side of the Mountain, which is about a kid living in New York, and he decides, because the economy is bad and it's kind of around the time of the Depression recovery, he's just like, you know what, this is too hard on my family to have this many kids at home. He was like 14 in the book, and he's like, I'm going to leave. I'm going to go live on my great-great-grandpa's land up in the mountains. And he leaves, and he goes and survives, and he trains as a falcon, and he catches his own fish, and he figures out which plants are worth eating, which ones aren't. And I told my mom, I'm like, Mom, I'm leaving. I'm moving to the mountains, and that didn't fly too well. She didn't like that idea. But that's when I got the bug for survival. And so I started learning how to build shelters. I got into scouting, and I got hooked on emergency preparedness. I got hooked on, you know, survival, overnight camping, and learning the different skills to be able to set snares. Learning the different skills to figure out how to make my own hooks and go fishing with those things. And while I was never successful with fishing, I kept trying. But eventually I learned how to hand fish. And so I developed that skill. And there's just so many different things that I learned through scouting that it just kind of continued to facilitate that desire to learn all these things. You know, and then I got into citizenship in the community merit badge and citizenship in the nation, and I got more patriotic, and I just fell in love with the nation that we have that affords us all these opportunities to learn and to grow and to pursue our American dream. And it just, from there, it just continued to grow and grow and grow and grow. And I mean, when I left for my mission, I took with me a small 72-hour kit. And everywhere I went, I had that 72-hour kit nearby, wherever I was. And I actually served my mission in Florida. And one night, towards the end of my mission, back in 1998, there was almost an F4, maybe it was just a little bit over an F4 tornado that came down during the middle of the night, and there was a series of them that hit. And to this day, it's still the most devastating event that's happened to Florida in regards of tornadoes.
Right.
More people died that night than in most hurricanes. So it was really, really amazing, and just to experience that and see how the community came together after the event. The next 3 weeks after that night, my companion and I were on 100% full-time, go help out the neighborhoods, go help with cleanup, go help deliver things like food and warm clothes and blankets. And so we had that experience, and that just further instilled in me the importance to have a plan. And that's really what preparedness and prepping is all about. It's putting together a plan for all the in cases that you can think of. Because the reality is you can't be ready for everything. But
Right.
you can try.
Right.
And if you try, that gives you an edge above anyone else. And the beauty of it is then you can help your community. You can not hinder your community, but be actually the guy that goes around and checks on your neighbors. Make sure they're okay. Make sure that there's helpful hands that can go clean up. And that's where all of this really kind of grew from. I spent some time in Arizona after my mission, and then I spent some time in California, and in both those places, the climate's so different. I had to learn different things. How to survive in 115-degree dry climates. So I started packing more water with me everywhere I went because it was so easy to get dehydrated.
Right.
Then when I moved to California, my 72-hour kit kind of turned into a bug-out bag, because what happens out in California is you've got all these crazy little earthquakes. My first earthquake I experienced was a 5.3. And for all of my preparation, I had no clue what to do. I completely froze because I'd never really prepared for earthquakes. And so that was a good wake-up call for me to start thinking, okay, what else do I need to prepare for? And how else can I improve my personal plan? And, I'm not an expert, and so I always like to go to the experts and find out what they do. What do they recommend? And so for me, it's just this lifelong passion and continuing learning and growing and just trying to understand as much as I can. And that's for me, that's what prepping is just always grow, always learn, always be as self-reliant as you can so that you can help rather than hinder your community.
Yeah. When I started the show off tonight, I watched a documentary that came out by Nova. It was just released here in 2015, and it talked about the tornadoes that took place. It was based on in Joplin, Missouri, that got literally leveled by an F5. I mean, the town was wiped off the map.
Yeah.
That was the one that luckily hit on not luckily, but it hit on a Sunday night. It destroyed the high schools, the schools. The kids weren't, in the schools, but I was watching it, and they did a lot of this. You see all the stuff on television, which shows the devastation. But this documentary kind of went behind the scenes, where the Red Cross just, they had no more blankets. They had nowhere to put people, the sad thing is you see all this devastation, people's houses that are gone, taken off the map. And now what do these people do? And some of them actually, there was a few that kind of went into survival mode. They went to the house, there wasn't nothing left of the house, but there was some plywood. They set up some plywood. They made some makeshift beds just to get through the night. And I guess what I'm saying with it is, some of these things can happen here, like you say, a horrific earthquake. There's no timing. There's no getting ready for it. And as we mentioned when you were here in the studio before, we always talk about the earthquake. Something happened in the middle of summer. Well, an earthquake can happen when it's 20 below zero in the dead of winter too. Now what do you do?
Absolutely.
We're
lucky. We just had the Great Shakeout came through on the 16th, and they have phenomenal resources for people who prepare for an earthquake. They talk about how to stay away from your windows, the drop and cover, drop, cover, and hold on, technique for people. And I was actually on ABC4 News last Monday showing that technique, and we actually call it turtling, so little kids kind of understand it a little bit better. But all these little things, we've got so many neat resources to help, but people don't think about, okay, this could happen any time of year.
Right.
What do you do in the winter if there's an earthquake? What do you do in the winter if you've got a house fire? Pretty much the same thing you do in the summer, but guess what? Now you have no warm clothes. So it's good to have a bag of clothes, an extra food, just the essentials that you need in either, you can call it a bug-out bag, you can call it a 72-hour kit, but it's good to have a couple of those lying around the house for each person, because what if you can't get to your front closet, which is where you put them all? It's good to have one in each of the rooms, too. So if there's a fire, the kid grabs the bag, climbs out the window. They know where to get out to and where to go to meet. Middle of the winter, middle of the summer, it doesn't matter when it happens. If there's a tragedy, it's tragic. But you can help fend off the fear by having practices in place and working on those skill sets and drill those things.
Right.
It's good to have monthly drills on, have fire drills every month or every other month, and then throw in earthquake drills on the opposite months, because that's what your family's going to really remember and listen to and think about when disaster strikes. I'm like, oh yeah, I know what we're supposed to do now.
Right.
And kids totally get into it. It's so much fun to see my little 3-year-old niece. When we say earthquake, she'll yell turtle, and she'll get on the floor and lean up right next to the most solid surface around there so that there's a triangle of safety. Like, she gets it.
Right.
And it's because we drill it every few months.
Exactly. Tell us a little bit about the cook-off thing. I heard one of the other radio hosts talking about it the other night. Here, S.P. Romney was talking about it. He's going to enter it. Tell us a little bit about that. How's that going to work?
Oh, man, we've got a couple stoves that are going to be on stage, and some small ovens that are all completely off-grid cooking systems. So you'll be cooking on butane. You're going to have these stoves and everything set up, and then a small pantry. We've got 2 head-to-head challenges on Friday and Saturday. The winner of each of those challenges is going to go on to the Grand Championship on Sunday. Or sorry, not Sunday, on Saturday afternoon. And everyone that participates gets a $400 gift card, or slightly under $400, through Wise Company Foods. And so they'll get to pick up some food for their own food storage, which is, $400 goes a long way in food storage. The winner, the grand champion, is actually going to get almost $2,000 worth of food storage. It's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be in front of a live audience. We're actually going to be recording it and putting it up on our social media later. But it's just going to be a lot of fun. One of the things people worry about is, okay, if something does happen, what am I going to eat?
Right.
And does this food storage stuff really work to make a real meal? The truth of the matter is, yeah, it does, and it does a great job. And so these 4 home cooks are going to actually go head-to-head and make it happen. And I think we've got a couple of them selected. I'm not sure. I'm not in charge of that event, but we're still looking for another person. So if you think you can, throw down on the old butane oven or stove and put together stuff out of your pantry like nobody's business, then you need to sign up. Just email, like I said earlier, email Annette. It's on our page on PrepperCon.com, the Salt Lake 2015 page, and it's right there. It's Nanette at PrepperCon.com, and she'll put you in the lineup. Tell her why you think you're the best qualified for it, and all those who get selected will actually get a prize just for being selected and get to compete head-to-head.
Wow, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
Well, and plus teach people too that, you don't always have to. You don't have to sit there and just eat, cans of beans or what have you. That if you get in a bad situation, you need a little bit of variety, because, like you said, it doesn't mean that, if there's some sort of an emergency, a catastrophic failure, even the power grid going down, it doesn't necessarily mean you've got to leave your house and head into the mountains or head into the hills. But if you want to provide some variance in the food and give your family let them taste something a little bit different, not just the same thing every night.
Yeah, nobody wants to eat beans every day, and nobody wants to just hightail it to the mountains as soon as trouble comes knocking. The reality is you're going to be in the most comfort if you stay in your home, even if your home is damaged, because it's something you're familiar with. And then having a solution in place for alternative means of cooking, whether it's a solar oven or we've got some really cool products. We've got Herc ovens, which use tea candles to light the oven. That keeps it at about 350 to 375 degrees for 4 hours. You can bake a cake and then some rolls and then, whatever else you want. I mean, 4 hours, you can bake a lot in 4 hours. You can do your Thanksgiving turkey. Most ovens take about 4 hours to cook the turkey. So, I mean, there you go. We've got some really cool products like Emberlight has some really cool rocket stoves, not rocket fuel, rocket stoves. So you can use small items. We've got Kelly kettles going to be there. You can actually just light a couple pine cones underneath this thing, and it'll get your water to a steady boil within 6 minutes. All of your water is warm enough that you can mix in oatmeal or really hot chocolate or anything else you want. Or if you're just trying to purify the water,
right?
Boom, you're done in 6 minutes. I mean, we've got some really cool companies coming out, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Anything that you could be looking for and thinking about, like if you're into zombie gear, oh yeah, we've got zombie gear. If you're looking for instructions on firearm safety and getting your concealed carry permit, we've got that class on Saturday morning. If you're looking for tactical training, how to understand how to better protect your home, how to look for threats for your home, like, okay, this is a vulnerable space, make sure people don't sleep in this room, or, it teaches you all those. We've got people coming to teach you all of those things. Right. We've also got Kenpo karate demonstrations and, FBI and CIA tactics and military tactical training, so you can learn different types of self-defense, which is going to be a lot of fun. We've also got some really cool, really ingenious products like Hybrid Light's going to be there. And these guys have a solar-powered light that once the battery's charged, it'll hold that charge for up to 7 years. You can just put it in the corner and forget about it, and it's good for 7 years. Pull it out, charge it again, and it'll hold the charge for another 7 years. And you can also use that same little light, plug in your phone, and recharge your phone. So it's small, it's lightweight. You can put it in your purse, your backpack, and you can come and you can build your own bug-out bag. We've got companies that have really amazing bags. One of the coolest ones is 3V is going to be there. It stands for Vita Vita Vice. Vita Vita Vice, which is we came, we saw, we conquered. And they've got some really, really good triple-stitch bags that really wear well. They look cool, and you can pack all your little things in there and not stress about it. Gotcha. So build your own bug-out bag or 72-hour kits, or do like I did, and I built a 96-hour kit for 2 that I pretty much carry with me every time I go more than 30 minutes away from my house. That way, if someone's with me, we're good.
Well, again, and having stuff that, that's the big thing, I think, is having something that's useful. I know, usually like when you hear bug-out bags, I think most people right away jump to the conclusion of, how many magazines and rounds I can get in there and how many guns I can get in there, but there's a lot more to it than that.
Oh, yeah. Like, my bag has 0 ammunition. It has 0 firearms in it.
Our guest tonight is Scott Stallings, the CEO of PrepperCon. And again, Scott, thanks so much for giving us some time to stop by here tonight.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
With this event coming on, are you kind of in that coasting mode yet, where it's going to happen and you're just going to coast, or you still got a crazy week ahead?
Oh man, I've got a crazy week ahead. My whole team has been phenomenal. We were very fortunate to have a really cool group of individuals who are all preppers, who all believe in prepping, and they all have different ideas of what prepping is for them, and so they brought that specialty in to help make this event really, really fun. But we've been working our tails off. We've been doing this thing. It's been 9 months of really intensive getting it ready. So it's almost like we've created, this is our baby, for lack of a better way to do it. I mean, 9 months is perfect timing, right?
Right.
So we've created this thing. We've been super busy. We've got amazing vendors. We're just finalizing everything, redoing schedules, and making sure we can fit all the classes. Like I said, we've got these suturing classes. We've got home protection classes. We've got a women's self-defense class and an anti-rape class that are amazing. The women's self-defense class is a 3-hour seminar. Comes with price of entry for $35. You can get into the class, and take advantage of the rest of the show and just really just have a good time. But you're going to come out of that class confident and just feel at ease, and alert, but at ease when you're going places, so you're not worried about, okay, what can happen to me? Because you're going to have the knowledge and the skills to actually get to do the drills and actually practice these things so you get equipped. But I mean, we're just working our tails off, pretty much 14 to 16-hour days right now up to the event. The event itself is from 9 a.m. till 8 p.m., so it's going to be long days, but it's fun-filled, and there's so many cool things that are going on throughout the show. I mean, there's a kids' corner. We've got search and rescue dogs that they can learn some amazing things for preparedness when it comes to camping and being with their family out in the wild. And we've got disaster planning. We've got a little smokehouse and a little rumble earthquake simulator house for the kids to learn what to do and how to be prepared for those things. But then we've also got an indoor gun range, and we're putting together the final touches on the class schedule and stage presentations. We've got 2 stages going on simultaneously all day long, so it's really beneficial. If you've got the time, come both days, because you're going to see a lot of things on Friday you may not be able to see on Saturday, and vice versa.
Gotcha.
So it's just going to be a ton of fun, and right now I feel like I'm on a media circus. I'm this little monkey jumping around from station to station and from television to radio, and but you know what? It's fun, and it's really opened my eyes to how hard you guys work, and just thankful that we've been able to be part of it. And you know, K-Talk's been awesome. You guys have helped us a ton. We've also had a lot of help from one of their sponsors, like Center Star Marketing did our commercials on TV, which you've probably seen a couple of those.
Yes,
have you seen all 3?
I have.
They're awesome. I mean, they blew it up for us. They just did such a good job. I think my favorite one is, and the crazy thing is my voiceover on all of them, but my favorite is the one, the guys walking out of Salt Lake in this desolate, destroyed, view of Salt Lake behind them, and I think that's what a lot of people think of when they think preppers. That's what we're waiting for, is the apocalypse. The reality is, we're just getting ready for whatever could happen. And not all disasters really mean it's the end of the world. It's just, okay, I lost my job. Okay, no big deal. I'll go get another one. But in the meantime, I've got food storage.
Right.
I've got money in the bank. My car broke down on the side of the road. It's not the end of the world. Don't act like it. Just take care of it and move forward. And so we kind of poked fun at the apocalypse with that commercial, and our other commercials are kind of give the idea of what is prepping and why should everyone prep. So hopefully people see that and come to the show, and ticket sales are showing that. I mean, we're going to have a big crowd. It's going to be a lot of fun. Some of the other sponsors that help make it happen, you guys are one of our title sponsors, K-Talk. You guys are phenomenal, so thank you.
We're glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have been huge. We've got some cool giveaways. Thanks to you guys, we were able to get Vital Domes to come in, and they're giving away a $5,000 geodesic dome shelter. It's not a tent. It's like a tent on steroids. It's amazing. You could live in this thing year-round and be nice and toasty warm. It's R14 insulation. It's got a little stove inside, and it's 16 feet in diameter. I mean, that's bigger than some of the apartments I lived in California.
Right, exactly. Well,
and we've also got...
And just, again, having that... when you think... I mean, again, just being able to see these products, and people need to consider these things. And it's not about... it's a gathering of vendors and experts. And, of course, the vendors want to sell product. I mean, that's what they're in business for. But, there's things that people need to take a look at. Maybe like on some of the domes, instead of a big trip to Disney World next year, maybe it's worth buying one of those and stick it in the garage. Something that could take care of your family.
Oh, yeah, and how nice is it to take that camping instead of a little rickety tent? You got room in there. You can stand up and walk around in there. If it's raining, you just cook and do everything else you need to in there, and you're still fine.
Right.
Another fun one was you got this bug-out bike. Have you seen that one yet?
No, I haven't.
MotoPed is donated a $4,000 bug-out bike. It's a 49cc engine, and this is going to be one of our grand prizes. So we're giving this away too, and it'll go 400 miles on a tank.
Wow.
And you can strap your bag on, you can strap your water on. You can use this as your bug-out vehicle, or you can use this as your daily ride to work, or you can just say, hey, I'm going to go have fun and go cruise the countryside today. And there's so many neat ways you can explore Utah or anywhere, and it's just a cool bike. My wife won't let me have a motorcycle, but she'll let me get one of these. And she's actually, I think, gonna want to get one too. So we've just got so many cool things we're giving away. We've got Life Straws. We've got Minuteman RX, who's also one of our big sponsors. We're giving away a lot of medical packs. They've got some advanced stuff, blood clotting factor things. They've got oral IV, just cool products and training. We've also got food storage. We're giving away tons of food storage, some tactical tools, some different knives, just a lot of neat products that everyone that walks through the door gets a chance to win.
Right. Well, again, looks like everything that I've seen on your site looks like it's going to be not only practical, but you again, the things that people can use, and even stuff that while it may be kind of prepperish, you could still use it. You can still use it in everyday life.
Oh yeah, I guess my favorite prepper tool is my mind. And you really think about it, we're also going to be talking about how to create a sharpened mind, which is your best asset. It's just always learn, always grow. And it's so important because that way you can continue to rely on yourself to take care of things. Right. And so we're going to have that, plus all the fun tools and all the fun, exciting demonstrations. And we've got fire starters. Oh, there's one cool company that's coming. You can actually drop this stuff in the water and it'll still light. Like, just pull it right back out. It lights, no problem. It's called InstaFire. They're going to be there. It's just going to be so much fun. I mean, we've got stuff you can climb on and climb around and in and out of. We've got clothing. We've got gear. We've got food. You mentioned skip the trip to Disney and get one of these shelters. I say skip the trip to Disney and get your food storage.
Right.
There's so many fun things you're going to see here. You can taste test the different food products. It's just going to be awesome.
Well, I can tell that I can't tell. I know that you've put a ton of effort into it, and I know what goes into all these different things, all these big shows like what you're doing and Comic-Con and all the stuff Ben's worked on over the years. I mean, it's a ton of effort, and all I can say is I hope it. People are crazy if they don't go. I know it's going to pay off for you, and like you said, the first one will be kind of a learning experience, and not that it's going to be bad, but it's going to be good, and it's just going to get better as you go down the road with this.
Oh, yeah, and we want feedback. Like, everyone that comes through those doors, I want your feedback. We're going to send out surveys. There'll be a survey on our website. I want to hear what you liked. We want to hear what you didn't like, so we can make it bigger and better next year, because we're going to be back April 15th and 16th of 2016. So our goal is to just make it bigger, better, more exciting, more informative, get you more classes, and just keep growing it and make this. Utah's always going to be our headquarters. Utah's always going to be our mecca for prepping, and we want it to be the biggest show that we have nationwide.
Yeah.
I mean, right now we've got probably 40% of our tickets purchased are out of state. People are coming to Utah because they want to see Utah, they want to see preppers, they want to know why we're the best state for prepping. And it's because our whole heritage is prepping. You look who founded Utah. It was the pioneers. Pioneers bugged out of one location to start over here. They're self-reliant. They do everything on their own as a community to start and build this amazing state that we all love. I mean, we've got 5 national parks here. We've got a beautiful downtown. We've got ski country. We've got camping country. We've got fishing that's amazing. You can go hunting. I mean, you can go shopping in 5 minutes, be up the mountains, and go skiing. I mean, there's everything in Utah. So, of course, this is the best place to do an event like this.
Well, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to go, and I think we're going to be doing some live broadcasting there as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, we're excited to have you guys there. We're excited to have the show, and we're just really excited to have the crowd come, and we hope it's the show that you guys deserve.
Well, again, all the work and effort that you put in, I know it's going to be, because again, I can tell just after meeting you the first time and talking about everything you're doing, it's amazing, and you got a great guest list, and again, people are going to they're going to learn a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah, we're excited. This is quite possibly the coolest endeavor that I've ever been a part of.
Let me ask you this: one of our listeners emailed in and says, Scott, do you and your spouse practice hardcore camping to try out products, ideas, and procedures?
We do. We're scheduling a few trips here in the next month after PrepperCon, of course. And I'm going to be teaching my wife everything that I know as far as fire starting, cooking in the wild, just really, really hardcore stuff. We're going to actually put together lean-tos, teach her how to lash that down and together. And it's funny because when we got married, she wasn't really into prepping as I see it. She thought emergency preparedness is good. I've got my 72-hour kit. I check twice a year. I learn new skills. I dig into first aid. I mean, she knows way more about medical side of the world than I do, and more than I'll ever know. She's brilliant, and she's probably the most organized person I've ever met, and beautiful to boot. But now she's like, I need to know everything you know, so in case something happens to you, I can still take care of everything.
Yeah.
And that is the most amazing thing I've ever heard from my wife. She's into it. We've just started doing a little bit of homesteading with some other in-laws. We've got chickens and rabbits that we're working on, and she's bought in. She's 100% in, and she's picking up the skills. And so this summer when we do our camping this summer, it's going to be pretty intense. We're going to do as much possible off-grid and self-sustaining as we can possibly do. And our whole family's getting into it. Like, I've been into it for years, but everybody else is getting into it too.
Exactly. Another question is, Scott, do you think having firearms for protection is prudent, or are there other forms of weaponry you might suggest?
I think as long as you're trained, as long as you know safety, any kind of weaponry is good to have. I like small firearms for personal protection. I have a concealed carry permit, and therefore it's my constitutional right, and I've taken the precautions to learn and understand what I'm doing with those guns. But we live in a wonderful country where you can learn those things from experts that know, and you can then go and help share with other people. But make sure you know what you're doing before you go out and do it. I like firearms. I always carry a knife with me as well, but my knife is a multi-tool. I've got a really good blade on there, but I've also got screwdrivers. So for me, I use a screwdriver probably more than I use the knife. Mm-hmm. And most of the time I'm using my knife to cut off tags after I buy new clothes. So the best thing I think really is find what resonates with you. I know some people that don't carry any weapons, but they do a lot of self-defense training, which is why we have self-defense training at school or at the event. Oh, and we've also got stun guns there. Some people love it. I personally, I just don't know what to do with a stun gun because I haven't really trained on them.
Right.
But I've been stunned by them, and it's effective. It's really effective. I let a friend try it when I was living in California, and I regretted it right away.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of different things you can do. Some people subscribe to guns and guns only. I don't. I subscribe to as many things as I can learn. But number one is just be alert.
Right.
Don't get yourself in a situation if you can. Don't get into that situation if it's a potentially dangerous situation. Some of them you can't avoid. But you can talk your way out of a lot of things. And that's probably your best asset is your mind and your mouth. If you use them both together in the right way, you can keep yourself pretty safe.
Very true. Scott, we got to wrap it up. The hour went way too quick. Again, let our listeners know where PrepperCon is going to be.
PrepperCon is going to be at the Southtown Expo Center. It's 9725 South State Street. That's in Sandy, Utah, just south of Salt Lake. And we're going to be there this coming Friday and Saturday. That's the 24th and 25th of April from 9 a.m. till 8 p.m. All of our grand prizes are going to be announced on Saturday. You can get more information by going to www.preppercon.com. And we look forward to having you guys all at this show this weekend or next weekend. It's going to be awesome.
We're looking forward to it too, Scott. Hey, thank you, my friend. Take care, be safe, and we'll see you next weekend.
Sounds good. Thanks, Pat.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.